Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending tonight's SMB training session. Okay, so today we will be diving into GLP-1, of course. That has been our highlight for several months, and it will continue to be until for some time. All right, because this is a very hot area of research. And of course, we will build up, and today's topic is, I think, it will be very helpful for all of you because we are all in this wellness space together, right? So as we embark on this, we will start to learn and also gauge about what is the market like and how do we compare. All right, this is the title of today's topic, right? Where do we stand and how you should feel about having feel great in your country. All right, so give me a moment as I share my screen. Okay, by now, I think that everyone on this call, if you are here with us today, I'm sure you're no stranger to this. You may not understand how does this work fully, but I'm sure you have heard or you have read somewhere about these injectables. Okay, there are all kinds of brands and all kinds of versions out there, and it's really one of the hottest topic in the wellness space right now. Okay, I'm pretty sure you have heard of celebrities, and many of them suddenly out of a sudden in this time they just shrink in size. But when reporters ask them, okay, are you on this? They don't admit it. All right. Okay, there's so far only one very popular celebrity that came and confessed, okay, which is Oprah. But there are many others that are still in speculation, and I think a lot of it has to do with this drug. Okay, so what is such a big deal about this? Because it looks like an insulin pen, right? So why is it an injectable? Okay, so let's look at its growth over the past few years. Okay, so you look at this graph. Actually, this whole class of drugs, which is GLP-1, has been around for a good, about a good decade. Okay, so it has been first discovered about 2017, 2018. It has already been studied and is steadily increasing. But its popularity spiked up very drastically, especially for the past 2 years, 2021 onwards. But it's especially so during 2022, and now it's a lot more. So this is the data from JP Morgan. Okay, they don't have the 2024 data. We can't analyze for this year. But as you can see here, it says since this time this year, which they are talking about 2023, Ozempic has shot up by 111%. Okay, this is just in a very short span of the end to the beginning of 2022. So I'm pretty sure if you look into now and if you can put into the entirety of 2023, it is most likely double. Okay, I'm not surprised if they say this year is going up to 200%. Okay, because with what that's happening, not just only in the wellness space, in the economic space, with the market shares, I'm pretty sure this data is way above what is it. Okay, so just to bring you some perspective, why in the world is this prescription going up so high out there? That's because, okay, for those who are on Ozempic, it is purported that they will lose about 15 to 25 weight loss on average, okay, if they're on this for 3 months at least. So you may look at figures as just figures, but 15%, let me give you perspective here. So if you weigh 60 kg, 10% is 6 kg, right? So 15% is 9 kg. So a person from 60 kg, you can go into 51 kg by just on this injectable, you know. Do you know this idea is so appealing, and especially for those who are looking into weight loss and those who have an ideal body weight, you just be on this injectable for like 2 to 3 months, you can shrink to 2 size down. So the idea of being able to just lose weight like that and not needing to exercise and anything, relying on injectables is a very tempting solution for many people. Even though this costs super expensive, the price have went up, right? It's now like 800 ringgit per jab. Singapore, it's like around $300 to $400 per jab, depending on your dosage also. So it can go up to thousands a month, but because of the results that's there, that's why it has been so popular lately. Okay? So what do we need to know as we open conversations about this? When you have friends asking you, hey, have you heard about GLP-1? So what is our stand and how can we answer? So number one, we need to know what is GLP-1. All right. So out of this whole Big Bang theory about GLP-1, right? And in the end, people will come and ask me, so actually, what is GLP-1? All right. And what is the relationship between GLP-1 and insulin? I think this is very important to understand because if not, there'll be a lot of confusion and we cannot differentiate, okay, what is what and how it works in this whole field grade, you know, subject. Okay, so how does this relate to field grade and where do we stand among competition? All right. So number one, okay, I want to go back to this because this is our foundation. We have always been about against insulin resistance. I think in terms of our scientific goal, we have always been very consistent, right? Insulin resistance. And of course, under this, some of the few things that we will target is always metabolic health. So like sugar, lipid levels, your blood pressure, and of course, another segment would be your body weight and your fat percentage. So there are a few things that will affect this. So today and for the next few months, we will focus a lot about GLP-1. So in fact, every month, we will have at least one topic that talks about GLP-1. So this is just one area, even though it's a very hot topic, but there are still many other aspects, okay? There's another one, which is known as nutrient balance. Okay, your protein, carbs, and fat. How does this affect insulin? Okay, hormonal balance, your growth hormone, your cortisol, your testosterone, okay, your sex hormones, okay, and how does this play with insulin resistance? And of course, there are some vitamin and minerals, which is very important in the metabolism of insulin as well. Okay, so we were looking into this chart, and this is where we will be focusing on coming the next few months. So today, of course, we'll be talking about GLP-1, right? So we want to establish this understanding first, that our body needs energy to survive. Okay, so how does our body use energy? It's not like car. Car, we know they use petrol, right? But our body, the currency of our body's energy is sugar, right? Whatever you eat eventually will become glucose. So how does this work in our body? Now, so this is, you can see an illustration of your blood vessel, okay? And these are all sugar in your body, okay? Floating in your bloodstream. And now, these are the different organs in our body. So we have, okay, I'm just giving some examples. So there's liver, there's muscle, and the brain. So what happens is that when insulin is released, okay, will be released whenever there's food. Okay, whenever you eat, insulin will be released immediately. So how it works is that its main role of insulin is to ensure that our sugar can be used by our surrounding organs. So all this sugar, whenever there's a presence of insulin, will then go to its respective organ. Okay, so that's why insulin actually we don't look at it as a villain. It has its important purpose in the body. So sugar from blood, insulin will make sure that it will go to target organs. So some will be to the liver, some will be your muscle, your brain. Okay, and it ensures that it clears and lowers sugar from the blood. So as you can see here, after you eat your sugar is not supposed to stay in the bloodstream. It's supposed to go to your organs, all right? And it produces energy for optimal body functions so that you and I can survive, all right? So what happened is this, all right? Over time, the body does not respond so well to insulin release. So even though you have insulin, there are still a lot of sugar particles floating in your blood. So this is where, when you go to the clinic, when they take your blood, they say, oh, high HbA1c, oh, high fasting blood sugar. It means that your organs cannot use this sugar. All right, that's why excess sugar in the blood. And long term, it can lead to diabetes, weight gain, and high cholesterol. So there'll be more and more sugar floating in your blood system, and it does not respond to insulin anymore. All right? Now, so what is GLP-1? Which is the most important question today. So GLP-1 is like a helper to insulin. It's another class of hormone, all right, that also respond whenever you eat. Okay, so when you eat, your body releases actually a lot of hormones. So at the same time, it also releases GLP-1. So GLP-1 is like a helper to insulin that helps to clear and lower your sugar from your blood faster. And it makes your organs more responsive to insulin. Okay, because of how it can help to make your bodies more responsive. So naturally, it can help to make your body more sensitive to insulin. So insulin don't have to stay so high for long. Why is there insulin resistance? Because there is too much insulin in your blood all the time. So once your body is more sensitive to insulin, then insulin don't have to be there so high, then it would go down, right? Naturally. Okay, I hope you're getting me. So what happens when you have more GLP-1? Okay, just give you a very easy illustration. Okay, so if you have more GLP-1, what does that mean? Okay, your sugar clears your blood faster, definitely. So this is the idea of how GLP-1 is being discovered. So when scientists, when they are formulating semaglutide, all right, which is your Ozempic, okay, they realize that, wow, the more GLP-1 does a patient have, it actually helps them to reduce their sugar faster. And they say that a reason why people are insulin resistant is because they don't have enough GLP-1. Okay, so they say that insulin can compete with job faster, so it lowers insulin levels sooner. And hence, once your insulin level is low, your body enters into the fat burning zone faster as well. All right, this is what we want to achieve. You usually take 4 hours, right, to go into the fat burning zone. But with GLP-1, if you have more, you can go into the fat burning zone probably sooner. Okay, may not need 4 hours or so. Okay, so less excess sugar, less sugar that enters into a fat cell means you will have weight loss. All right, I hope that you get me. Okay, so now let's summarize the role of both things. So what is insulin? Insulin is like the manager that manages everything that has to do with sugar in your blood. So manager's role is very important, right? They are the core person when it comes to managing anything in any organization. So without it, sugar cannot be used in the body, all right? There's nobody to give any signal that sugar don't know what to do. However, the problem is not with insulin, it's when it becomes high. All right, when there's something wrong with your insulin or your body's not responding it, then that's when there's something wrong with the manager. Okay, then high sugar in the blood. Okay, it promotes your sugar to shuttle into your fat cell. All right, when there's high insulin, that's what it does. And you'll get very hungry easily. You have hungry pangs and your weight gain. And this is where insulin resistance happens. So what does GLP-1 does? GLP-1, like I said, is a helper to your insulin hormone. So you just imagine in any organization or a company, can a company survive with just one manager working and no helper at all? Eventually, your manager is going to break down with burnout, right? Because how can it sustain the entire organization? So the more helper or the more worker does a company have, it means that the company can run smoother and they're more efficient and they can do things faster as well. So the more worker that your company hires, it means that your process will be faster, right? Get my logic. So body can clear sugar faster, organs faster, okay, everything will be faster. They lower insulin faster, you feel full faster also. That's the reason why those who are on GLP-1 injectables, they feel full very easily. Okay, after eating a little bit, they feel like, okay, enough already. So this is very important, help to manage your appetite. So the more GLP-1, the more efficient is this process happening in your body. So it's proven that GLP-1 is effective against diabetes, insulin resistance, and especially now, weight loss. Okay, so this is where and why that GLP-1 is such a hot topic now. Okay, rightfully so because of how it works and how it is really a new game changer to the whole wellness space. But of course, drugs, you must understand it's artificial and it increase at normal levels like 10 to 11 times more. Okay, so that is not very good, frankly, in the long run. Okay. So even though it's a drug, we have never seen Oprah happier than she is now. Okay. Look at the smile on her face. I think this is the $1 billion smile when she see that she can fit into this dress that she hasn't really been able to do, not even in her wildest dream. So because of this, she's now actually quite a strong advocate. She has invested in Ozempic already. All right. So, okay, this is the allure. And just so you know, okay, let's talk about market shares, since we're on this topic. So I was just doing some comparison, right, to see how big this business is, why GLP-1 is such a huge industry, right? So I'm comparing shares with different countries now. So Malaysia, okay, this is one share, okay, for a single share, Malaysia Maybank considered very okay. It's RM9, quite pricey already lah. So go to Singapore, while UOB Bank don't need to say lah. Okay, if you just put in Malaysian ringgit, it also doubles whatever that we have. And this is in Singapore currency. So I would say that UOB has a pretty good performance in the stock exchange as well. But you look at Ozempic, okay, this is Ozempic. All right, you don't need to talk about currency exchange first. Just see the numbers itself. It's like $122, okay, for one single share. And you know, we don't trade with just one share, right? We trade with one lot. That is very little. Also, one lot is like 100 shares. So with the kind of money that if you want to trade right now, is at least 100 or 1,000 for, no, 10,000, about 12,000, okay, for one lot. So if you want to really trade actively, you can buy a property in Malaysia already. Okay, it's 100 over 1,000. So this is, how it's going right now, and especially with the science that we spoke about just now, all right, where a lot of, it's not stopping anytime soon. It will continue to only be more and more popular. So because of this, obviously, everybody wants to have a piece of that pie. Not just only supplements, okay, drugs, fighting very aggressively. All different drug companies are fighting against each other to come up with an even better semaglutide. So they're all fighting and fighting and fighting. So, because they are fighting to get the best direct GLP-1. So right now, medications are the only avenue in which you can get direct GLP-1. Okay, you can't really get this through supplement because semaglutide is a kind of peptide, it's a hormone. So just like insulin, right? Insulin has to be injected. So, but GLP-1, there are capsule version also. But the capsule version, yeah, there's one called Rybelsus, I think, and they encapsulate it. But so far for insulin, there is no encapsulation, or it's on jet. So most of the time they go with jet. There's a more popular choice because it degrades very quickly in our body. So I did some research, okay, for this topic. So I found some very interesting advertisement on the internet. All right, so this is, wow, I tell you, the claims are very, quite outrageous. It says that you sleep, the next day you become hot girl. This is basically what I'm trying to say. All right, and the way they can deceive people very easily with all this advertising. Okay, and if you know how to read Mandarin, actually this is a really enticing advertisement, and they dare to put all these kind of things. So be careful of all these false claims. All right, people are trying to leverage on it, and there is so far no direct GLP-1 supplementation yet. Only through medication, like I said. Okay, so there's nothing that can actually, you can eat GLP-1 like that. Okay, it's not possible at the moment. So please be careful with false claims. All right, so how about supplement industry? Of course, we know that everybody is trying to take a piece of that pie, right? They try to leverage on the hype, and they try to link some general food nutrients that supports the idea of increasing GLP-1. So they will try to find a way lah. They'll try to find, okay, maybe some kind of food, some protein or some maybe curcumin or whatever. Okay, okay, then they just, a small link, then they try to link it to GLP-1. But there's no direct evidence that their products can increase GLP-1 levels. They try to link it, but they cannot really say that if you take this, can increase GLP-1. Okay, there isn't such an evidence yet. So it's quite scarce, I would say. I've done quite a bit of research now in direct selling now. So far, there isn't any company that is really talking about it directly. So I do know about, I think they also do talks about this topic. And but no direct, they don't publish it in their website or whatever. So I can't really find anything. But I can find some influencers, they try to link this GLP-1 with their products, especially their protein products. This is the only one that mentions and they're very smart to put it GLP-1 nutrition companion. So people thought it's a really like some supplement that can increase, but when I look into it, actually they are just featuring few common things that they are already selling, such as protein shake and fiber supplement. So I mean, I think good. These kind of things that our company also have one, right? So brand new, nothing found about it, but I'm pretty sure if they were to market it, it will be the same angle and so as brand N. All right, so these are four very big companies, all right, and yet they try to go into it, but they don't really have anything that can prove, or they give a very direct association about how it can increase their own GLP-1. And I also look at the retail space also, like website, I can't really find anything. So I would say that GLP-1 is pretty new in the supplement industry and people are getting into it, but nothing is out yet. So this is where I think we are very well positioned, just like what Dr. Benjamin has said. We can confidently say that we are one of the first few that conduct research and find association with our product and increasing GLP-1 levels. So we are pretty much at the starting line, all right, at the forefront of this space. So if you are on this call here today, be very confident, okay? All right, so we're going to know how does both of these products increase your GLP-1 levels. So supplements, how does it induce GLP-1? We use natural route, okay? So the intestine and the gut naturally produce GLP-1. The main site in which our body produces GLP-1 is the gut. So the main way is there are some food ingredients that will trigger the intestine to produce more GLP-1. So if you want to eat food that can increase that in our body. Okay, so this is what Dr. Benjamin has mentioned, okay, yerba mate, and he has done this research. So based on this graph, you can see it's close to double, okay, the active GLP-1 levels, right? Okay, it's close to double. So it's pretty significant from a control group if you just drink water and comparing it to if you're taking yerba mate. So you may not have a visual, right? So what does this really mean in our body? So to make things easy, I've drawn a graph. Okay, a very simple illustration for you to imagine what is the impact of that graph that we saw just now. So by just drinking water, you still have GLP-1. Of course, everybody has GLP-1. But if you drink yerba mate, okay, if you drink it, it can go close to 2 times, right? We can't draw a percentage because these are a single whole number, right? So we looked into it. It can increase 2 times, it's about double. All right. So you already have 4 GLP-1. And as we look at the illustration just now, you're already at the advantage metabolically to be able to process sugar and insulin better. So what if you drink 2 yerba mate? So for those who want to have that elevated boost, you want to have better insulin control, sugar, or even weight management, this is where taking 2 yerba mate is even better because it's able to produce, okay, it's able to produce 2 times of what you take from one normally. So this is something that you can consider. And in fact, I think it's pretty effective. I have a colleague right now who's on this mission right now. She said that on yerba mate 2 times, she really don't feel like eating. And she says that if she's on this, sometimes she only feel hungry like at night, that kind of thing. So you can actually try to go into it if number one, you want to experience it for yourself, or you want to have a breakthrough in your own health. So this is something that I think you can try. In fact, it's not just my colleague, right? They've really done the research and you have had feedback that is very good in suppressing hunger. So you can try this for yourself, okay? 2 yerba mate a day. So what is the effect? All right. So definitely, as we have learned just now, it lowers your sugar a lot more efficiently. Okay, it's more efficient. And the surrounding organs is able to respond to insulin quicker. Hence, it becomes more sensitive. So you don't need a lot of insulin for it to do its work. Maybe just increase a little bit, your body already know what to do. Oh, your GLP-1 will tell your surrounding organs, okay, insulin is here, please be ready. Okay, rather if no GLP-1, then everybody don't know what's happening. Even though there's a lot of insulin in your body, you may not be able to respond to it. So insulin level lowers faster, which is so much more important, okay? So you may not, for some people who, if they have enough GLP-1, they don't even need 4 hours to go into fat burning, all right? It can be sooner. And it this is also a very important supporter, okay? Because many people, why they cannot control is because they feel like they have an appetite problem. So one of the things that GLP-1 will do is not just only signal your gut, it will also signal to your brain that you are not so hungry. Even though eating a little bit, naturally, you can control your portion sizes better. So it can trigger the I'm full signal, so you don't feel like reaching to food so much. And of course, definitely it links to more effective weight loss. So now we have covered how GLP-1 can increase when you are not eating. So if you're not eating, GLP-1 levels can increase using yerba mate because you usually eat that during an empty stomach, right? So what about when you are tempted with all these food that you eat outside? Fried rice, fried chicken, nasi kerabu, or fried noodles. Because we need to be realistic. These are foods that we take every day, unless you're at home cooking, which most of us are not. So we have to face this as well. So our target here is to increase GLP-1 the whole day, not only on your fasting, but also on moments when you're eating. So how can we manage this, especially during meals? Okay, so Dr. Benjamin has also emphasized that BIOS Life F can increase our L cell secretion of GLP-1. So just to make it easy for you, L cell is basically the type of cell in your gut that produces GLP-1. So the more you can trigger this L cell, the more GLP-1 our body will have. So 6 fiber types, okay, BIOS Life F has these 6 fibers. So it will go through fermentation. Once it's in your gut, right, it will ferment. So in this fermentation, what will it produce? It will produce this thing called short chain fatty acid. I know it's a bit scientific, okay, but just bear with me, okay? Basically, if you see this is everywhere nowadays, short chain fatty acid is come from fiber. So it will signal the L cell in the gut to release GLP-1. That's why this SCFA is very important. We want more of this if possible, because it will signal your gut to release even more GLP-1 into your bloodstream. And the gut will switch on the GLP signal in the brain. So GLP-1 receptor is not just on your gut, it goes all the way to your brain. So it's very helpful to also tell you that you're full and you don't have to eat so much. And by the way, not all fiber can induce this kind of process. Not all fibers can be fermented, all right? They are insoluble fiber also. And there are some fiber that are not so good quality that they just put, there are a lot of companies nowadays because of, we all know fiber is important. They just add maybe a low quality fiber or filler kind of fiber that even it states it's soluble fiber, but once it goes into it, it doesn't carry out its function. It just passes through your body. So you need a good quality fiber that will really ferment to give you good quality this short chain fatty acid. So only specific type of fiber can allow our bacteria to produce SCFA. And an hour or so or two, look at this, okay? Just by not eating a fiber meal, if you go on lunch, for example, you eat fried rice, hardly any fiber. So your GLP-1 will drop very drastically, literally like 0 after 1 or 2 hours eating a no fiber meal. Okay, so this is something that you have to bear in mind because our GLP-1 disappears very quickly once there's no fiber. So the goal here is to have as much GLP-1 as possible in your body for as long as you can. So the more soluble fiber you take in, the more it can sustain through. Even post-meal, your body will still be producing GLP-1. So this is key. That's very important. All right. So BIOS Life S serves a very important purpose especially during food, because during food there's an influx of sugar coming into your body, so it needs extra help. So this is according to a latest study by Dr. Benjamin, and he did state that balance with meal right now is showed to be even more effective than 15 minutes before. They can lower down your sugar even more. So this is good news for all of us that you don't have to wait 15 minutes and you can now lower even more together with the discovery of GLP-1 and with SCFA in our body. So I think this is very important, especially with all the food that you're eating outside. Okay, so this is our study. Okay, so both BIOS Life S and Uni Mate, as we can see, can give us the best GLP-1 combo. All right, and one covers when you're not eating, when you're, in the morning, when you're in a fasting state, and the other, which is BIOS Life S, is very helpful, especially during the mealtime. And our goal is to make your GLP-1 as high as you can throughout the day. And bear in mind, this is not any medication, okay? Not anything that will distort the natural levels in the body. Okay, this is naturally occurring, and it gives the kind of effect that all the great effect that you see just now. I think it's amazing. Okay, and this is, I would say, the forefront way. Okay, if you know of anyone going through it, this is really effective against insulin resistance. Okay, because GLP-1 has been well studied in this area. All right. So, what is the future outlook of GLP-1? So, knowing all this, don't you feel really privileged to be on board with Unicity? Okay, I'm not saying this because I'm working for Unicity. Okay, I mean, in end of the day, we are all looking at the science. Like, if I read about something and there isn't anything to talk about, I wouldn't have this talk today with you, right? There must be some substantial evidence. Then I myself will feel convicted that, okay, what we have here is really a really well positioned, okay, which is something unexpected also. So with this with us right now, we have so much more of an upper advantage, and we're so much more well positioned, and we have the edge to our products that can really make us stand apart in this world full of competitors. Okay. So what is the future outlook is promising, and we'll continue to search and grow. Okay, with the shares that I shared with you just now. $100 will definitely be more than that. Okay. So studies are stating diabetes is due to low and insufficient GLP-1. Okay, very interesting. Last time, people say that why a person has insulin resistance, they say, oh yeah, because insulin is very high and insulin resistance, right? And now they are showing a different narrative. Okay, there's a different science that talks about how GLP-1 is even shown to protect your pancreatic cell. All right, so I think this is really very interesting. It's a different discovery about insulin resistance. And it's not like what we have believed. And there are new findings talking about how GLP-1 is actually linked to insulin resistance. I'll be talking about this more, all right? So stay tuned to my next slide later. And they are now trying to branch out the study on other metabolic conditions, all right? So because of the great results of GLP-1, they are now looking into other metabolic conditions such as Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's is known to be also related to inflammation and insulin resistance, especially in the brain. So they are now ongoing. Next year, results will be out. So if that comes out, then really good, okay? So like I said, Unicity is well positioned and one of the first few that has research that has a link to increase GLP-1. The research that Dr. Benjamin has done in his lab. So I think it's really great. And what you have in your hands is power. All right. Okay, so Unicity and Feel Great is indeed your competitive advantage. I hope that you're able to use whatever you have learned today to share with people that you know. Okay, that what you once know about insulin resistance is more than that. And I hope with today's talk, you have a much better understanding about what is insulin and what is GLP-1. That the more GLP-1 you have, the more helpers you have to your manager, which is insulin, the better your metabolic health will be. Okay? So now, these are upcoming trainings that we're planning to do next month. So like I said, GLP-1, there are new discovery on insulin resistance already, okay? It's not just about, oh, a person insulin resistance because, oh, high insulin. There's actually another aspect that triggered insulin resistance. So on the 7th of May, okay, we'll be unraveling the latest science on GLP-1 and its relationship with insulin resistance. So I think this is going to be quite an interesting topic as well. And on the 21st, GLP-1 and food, nutrients that can boost your GLP-1 levels. I think it's also very helpful because we also want to look into how we can take advantage about other micronutrients such as protein, fiber. So there are actually linkage to those things as well. So we want to see how we can capitalize those things and how we can activate our body to produce even more GLP-1 levels. So, I hope that both of these topics are to your interest. Okay, so thank you very much. So now we would open for Q&A. All right, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Okay, so BLS soluble fibers ferment and short-chain fatty acid is produced to signal L cells to produce GLP-1. Okay. Unimatic chlorogenic acid, ECGC, and folic acid also signal L cells to produce GLP-1. I believe so, but I know most of the studies are targeted towards chlorogenic acid. But I believe all these things also do help because they also consist in the yerba mate formula. So this one, I think you can say that as well because Dr. Benjamin did mention three of these things. But since chlorogenic acid is the main component of our yerba mate, so I would say that we can focus more on chlorogenic acid, and that's the highest content in our yerba mate formula. It's been purified to give us that amount. So, but it's not wrong. It's not wrong to say that, yeah, you can add that in as well. Thank you so much for your question. Okay, so Uni Mate Lemon do not work better alone compared with other food grade products. I don't really know what you're trying to say, but I guess you're trying to say it won't work as well as Barsac F, is it? Okay, you must understand the whole picture of field grade. Why is it that we say 2 products and 1 practice? Okay, it's not because Uni Mate, just you have 1 product, it's not effective, you know. It's not that way. It's still a great product, right? It's still highly concentrated, and our formulation especially is the most pure, one of the most pure ones out there. So it gets on grain. But we want to leverage on entirety and especially targeting when you're going out to eat. So Barsac F is very important in that sense that it helps to curb our appetite, and especially after food, there's an influx of sugar. So how do we manage that? So we need Barsac S to help, especially when we are eating food. So you must understand how both of these products come together. And if you have one, it won't be able to do the other function. So ideally, you have both of these to give us the best effect. So you don't want to just have good mental health, but when you're eating, everything go away. So we want to have a complementary effect having both of these products together, right? That's why it's called good, right? So which one is more effective? Increase GLP-1, Uni Mate or Barsac S, choose only one. No, I would say that both are also important because, like I said, Uni Mate is for fasting. Okay, it's for fasting period. They don't have that kind of study like they will do with with Barsac S yet, but still, Dr. Benjamin did mention that Barsac S is still very important, that we do not want to neglect that. So I would say that Barsac S to increase our GLP-1 during food. Okay, not to, we need that as well so that our sugar can go down faster, especially protein. So I would say that both of them are just as important, okay? And to have both of them in your field grade is crucial. So why is vitamin D deficiency will affect GLP-1 weight loss? So vitamin D is also quite an important indicator. I read up quite a few research about how it increases insulin sensitivity. So it's also one of the core micronutrients that help our body to be more insulin sensitive. So it has you stay tuned to my next few training topics because I have like a chart you see, right? One, we're gonna touch one on vitamin and mineral. So of course in that segment I will talk in detail the mechanics about how it does. But basically, because you must know our body is a very complex system. We don't only just run on insulin, GLP-1. Okay, there are many other vitamin and minerals that's also involved to make our body more receptive to attach to insulin better. So this is a whole topic altogether, but vitamin D indeed is very important in our metabolism to make our body more sensitive to insulin, to be more sensitive to insulin. So it's a good thing to add bone fortify into your regime if you have not. Is there a name for the eye and full sickness that make you not hungry? It's satiety. Okay, I try to make things easy for people to understand. So, people always say satiety, satiety. Some of them you may not understand. So I would say that the trigger word for it is the satiety signal. Yeah. Okay, thanks for asking. So Dr. GLP-1 helps to reduce insulin resistance to promote sugar to be slowly broken down into fat cells for energy, not slowly broken down, okay? Okay, GLP-1 does help to reduce insulin resistance to promote sugar to be broken down even faster, okay? Not slowly. Because GLP-1 is like your helper, for example, okay? The more helper you have, the more everything will be faster. Your body can lower sugar better, it can offload better, it can be used better. So it actually speeds up everything. So for example, it helps the fat cell. GLP-1, this is a whole topic. GLP-1 actually makes your fat cell from white cell to become more and more like a brown fat. It has increased metabolic energy, increased heat, actually increased fat burning capacity in your fat cell. So this is what GLP-1 does. It kind of activates your fat cell to burn more. So I could say that is the amazing thing about GLP-1. Okay. Oh yes, GLP-1 is produced in the gut. You're right. Okay. So thank you for the presentation. My question is, in case my prospect have limited budget, okay, and has to choose just one to lose fat and reduce insulin resistance, which one would you recommend using my of 5+F? Okay, I'm not sure if this question is to test me or what lah. But okay, I mean, obviously, there are such things that can happen as well, right? Some people have. I would say both is very different function. Like seriously, I don't know how to say. Um, if the person is more, he, depends on his needs and his requirement. Okay, if this person has problem waking up and he feels very unenergetic, okay, and he feels very like, oh, if mental health is really the area and you just don't have that kind of energy, right? Then of course Unimate is the way to go. But Bioslife S, it really targets on the food, especially when you eat anything, and it helps to manage that insulin spike and that sugar spike after eating your rice and things like that. So it really depends on how you approach your customer. What is more of his concern. If you think this person always eat out a lot and he, doesn't really have much time to eat healthy, then of course I think it's S. So I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question. It depends case to case basis. Okay. Okay, I'd like to read more on studies on GLP-1 and diabetes. Okay, could you direct us to the studies that shows due to insufficient GLP-1? Yes, I can. Okay, in fact, I'll be sharing this in my next session on the 7th. Okay, so I will be telling you more about that. Don't worry. And of course, if you want to know, you can, as always, you can give me, give me a pin. Yeah, I will definitely send that to you. Yeah, they are on PubMed. Okay. So many are trying to reduce carbo to restrict sugar. How does it affect GLP-1 and hunger management? Yeah, of course it does, right? Because carbo triggers your hunger, right? If you eat a lot. If a person don't take any fizzy or any supplement to help them, naturally they'll feel hungry. And especially simple sugar, it makes you hungry, it triggers insulin response so much more faster. So of course, insulin, if you take your mate in the morning, it really helps to increase your GLP-1, right? So once you can increase your GLP-1 in the morning, you're already feeling not that hungry, and especially if you take 2 packets. And if you take Bioslife S, you already have another additional layer of GLP-1. So you have even more GLP-1 in your body. So naturally, when it comes to eating, you don't feel eating that much. So that's how overall, the more GLP-1, the more hunger signal, the stronger your hunger signal will be in your brain. So that's how it works. The more GLP-1, the better it is for you and your satiety signals to be activated. Okay, so what is the relationship between GLP-1 and hunger and how sugar is being broken down into fat cells? Sugar don't break down into fat cells. Okay, what happens is that okay, when the more GLP-1 level you have, right, sugar can be mobilized even better to your surrounding organs. But when it comes to fat cell, because high insulin will cause more sugar to be loaded into your fat cell. So because you have more GLP-1, right, more of this sugar will be used in your fat cell. Okay, it actually increases the activity of the mitochondria that's in your fat cell. So like I said, it is able to use. Okay, what happens in sugar in the fat is it will just stay there. If there's no GLP-1, all this sugar will be shuttled, okay, from your blood, it will be shuttled to your fat cell, to your brain, to your liver, or all these other places, right? So fat is no exception. So of course, when it's being shuttled inside, right, when you have GLP-1, your fat will use that sugar as energy because our fat cell actually is a fat cell, okay? It needs to survive. So it will use energy to sustain itself to produce heat. So if you don't have GLP-1, the sugar will just be in your fat. And your fat, what will happen? You become bigger and bigger. More and more sugar in your fat cell, correct? It will keep expanding. But the more GLP-1 you have, it increases the mitochondrial activity in your fat cell. So then your fat will burn the sugar inside. So your sugar is being burned in your fat cell. So naturally, your fat cell will shrink. Okay. So I wouldn't say sugar is broken down, but sugar in the fat cell will be burned. Okay. So the more GLP-1, the more effective this will be. So what is increasing GLP-1 production in the body of gut? So like I said, GLP-1 production is in our gut, this specific place called L cell. Okay, so if you want to learn more what kind of food, okay, one of the few macronutrients, protein and fat does increase GLP-1, fiber as well. So these are a few key, and of course there are certain mineral and vitamins are very important, like vitamin D, omega-3 also. Okay, omega-3 is very important also. Yeah, that actually helps to increase GLP-1 level. So stay tuned to my session on the 20. I don't really remember. Okay, I have another slot that talks about this. So, be sure to stay tuned and I'll tell you more about it. Okay, so how to measure own GLP-1 in your own body? Blood test, how about insulin resistance as well? Oh, very good question. GLP-1, so far, I don't think clinically there's any way you can measure it. I think you need to use a very sophisticated way to measure that in the lab. So I think right now, I think because GLP-1 degrades so quickly, GLP-1 levels in our body degrade 2 to 4 minutes disappear already. So it's very hard to measure. You need to have something very sophisticated. So now you can only do it in the lab. And blood tests, my person don't have. Insulin resistance, there is no direct indicator that can measure this. Okay, you can measure insulin, but there's this ratio. Okay, I think it's not mistaken, it's HDL. You take your TG and you divide your HDL. Yeah, I think so. Wait, let me double check. Okay, because it measures your liver, how well the ratio between the HDL that's produced in your liver and triglyceride. Give me a moment, I double check for you. Because Kelly Lee just asked me this not long ago, okay? So let me just quickly clarify this with you. Okay, yes. So it is, you take your HDL from your blood test. Okay, your HDL will divide by triglyceride. Okay, right? So luckily, Kelly asked me this question. Prepare me for this day. Okay, so it has to be less than 1.5. So if you take your triglyceride, you divide by HDL. If it's less than 1.5, then you're in the safe zone. If it's more than 1.5, it means that you're likely insulin resistant. Okay, so this will be a pretty good gauge to test your insulin resistance. Okay, so thank you everyone. Okay, I had a great time sharing with you about what I've learned about this topic, and I hope that with this explanation, you get to also understand a lot more easier and clearer about how this affects you. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. Please stay tuned to our next session on the 7th and on the 21st. So we will be reading up more on this topic, and it's great to see all of you. So thank you very much. Good night. Bye.